I'm very pessimistic. I'm very worried that the polls are undercounting Harris like they undercounted Trump in 2016. So I guess that would be my question for both like you, Dan, Sean, Mark, if you want to
Yeah.
answer. It feels like it's going to be 2016 in reverse.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
So Lauren, we've all got a million question for you, but we'll answer yours first. And I'll just say it could be undercounting Harris supporters, could be undercounting Trump supporters. The pollsters have done their best here. I tend to think if they're undercounting, it's more likely to be Trump supporters based on the fact that Trump supporters are less likely, based on the demographics, to answer pollster questions. So I think that's more likely than undercounting Harris supporters. Sean.
Yeah, I concur with that. I had Robert Cahaly on the show yesterday from Trafalgar Group. He agrees. Some states more than others, they're what they call a shy Trump voter that don't want to talk to pollsters, admit it. Because I think, Lauren, they're like you. They don't want to get on the phone and feel like they're being recorded, or on the, kind of put in some database as a Trump supporter. I understand that concern from Harris people. I just don't see it socially. I mean, I don't think that there's like when you deal with are a Trump person, people chastise you, culturally, socially, at work. With Harris, I don't see that problem, but we'll see. I mean, maybe there's an issue. I think with women, maybe, but I just don't buy it. I don't. I think more than anything that people who are with Harris tend to be proud about it and say, "I'm concerned about this or that, and I'm voting for Harris." So I don't
Yeah.
know.
The whole idea about conservative women, being too afraid to tell their big bad, Trump husbands about who they're voting. I mean, come on. If
Well,
that's
no,
the
no, and I think you're right. That Julia Roberts ad, I think pushed a lot of people in the wrong direction. We'll talk about
Well,
that.
I do tend to agree with all three of you that there probably are going to again be surprise Trump voters that he will slightly exceed what is in the polls. I will say though that in the abortion ballot initiatives, which have mostly been in red states, some of which are ruby red, the outcome, the pro choice numbers have far exceeded polling going into those races.
Totally.
And what you have seen is a silent pockets of a silent majority sprinkled throughout red America. Harris is leaning into it. I mean, we're going to find out here in a few hours, but it would not surprise me if you see, and I'm very curious to see the rural margins today, if there are these pockets where she just chips away 5-10% in hundreds of counties, and then you have the suburban, urban
Yeah,
turnout.
I know we talked at the
Possible.
beginning what time polls close, but as I said, I think it's going to be if she when we see North Carolina around Charlotte, when we see Northern Virginia, I think New Hampshire still, um, and either she's that's happening, that she's overwhelming people in suburban areas out or ex-urban areas, or we're seeing the hidden Trump vote. We're going to have a pretty good tell. As Mark said, it doesn't mean that everything that's the end of the night. But I also think that we're going to get a pretty big tell real early where, is it going to be close or is one side happening? I will tell you, though, that the comments on the morning meeting, again, it's kind of like yard signs. It's not data driven. But more and more people that I've talked about have not been traditional Trump voters. They didn't vote for him in the past. They don't like him. They didn't intend to. They were never Trump. Over and over and over again, I hear the same anecdote. I wanted her to give me a reason to vote for, and she didn't do it. I'm voting for Trump because I don't like the last 4 years. And I
Yeah.
think I'm just,
John, I think that some of those biggest numbers or turnarounds are going to be in urban centers. I mean, I know
Yep.
Mark hears it. You don't go anywhere in New York City, a bodega, Uber, a Starbucks, where workers say, "I'm for Trump."